Yeah, so I'm going to be doing Waters of Mars, which is a Tennant episode, and it kind of shows the breakdown of his Doctor. It's kind of the first time properly where he kind of, his ego kind of takes over. So it's a brilliant kind of standard kind of sci-fi story. I tend to like the Doctor Who a bit more serious. I like comedy moments, but I like the sci-fi to be kind of fairly solid sci-fi. I think it fills that, and it's quite scary. Like the monster and kind of the weird water zombie things are pretty terrifying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it shows that kind of breakdown scene, the whole Time Lord Victorious bit, where he just goes off on one and says that he's the last Time Lord. Why shouldn't he be able to change time as he sees fit? And I like that even the characters around him aren't agreeing with that. Mm. And then the bit at the end where Adelaide says, well, it's not right, you shouldn't be doing that. And she's more like the Doctor in that moment than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she guns herself down. It's pretty brutal stuff.
It is really... That's not what you expect in Doctor
No.
Who, really.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people die in Doctor Who, but never in such a real way as that.
Yeah. And it kind of... Yeah, it totally leads on nicely to that moment in The End of Time where Bernard Cribbins knocks on the glass.
Yeah.
And Tennant knocks 4 times.
Yeah. And Tennant has this big rant about how
he could have done so
much more and all this sort of stuff, and then ends with that beautiful, quiet moment where he says he's lived too long.
Yeah.
Good, solid episode, kind of base under siege, classic story. Kind of Troughton-esque in terms of its construction, but obviously a lot darker. So those are the reasons why I absolutely love that.
My next one then is going to be maybe a slightly controversial pick. Boomtown from Series 1.
Of the revived series.
Yeah, the second Slovene episode in that series. It's an interesting one because I think the thing that really makes the episode for me, there's two things really. One is the team dynamic. You've got Jack, you've got Mickey, you've got the Doctor, you've got Rose, all working together. It's the closest to like a big TARDIS team you get.
Team TARDIS.
Yeah, until pretty much the end of Tennant's run when he's got them all on Journey's End. And it kind of it appeals to the part of me that likes Torchwood. It's got that kind of Aliens in Cardiff feel. Mm-hmm. It's just a really, really fun episode, but with some really dark stuff too. When the Doctor takes the Slovene, I've forgotten her name now.
I can't remember her name now.
Yeah.
Blonfell Forge or whatever.
Yeah.
Passenger Day.
I think she's calling herself Margaret.
Indeed.
The Doctor takes Margaret the Slovene out to dinner the night before he's going to take her back to be executed, and that's a very interesting interaction and a nice look into the Ninth Doctor's kind of psyche. And I think he's one of the more complex, interesting characters that the Doctor has been.
John. Does she not turn into a potato at the end of that?
She turns into an egg.
That looks quite suspiciously like a potato.
Yeah. She's given a fresh chance by the heart of the TARDIS and turns back into an egg. It's not a potato, John. It's an egg.
Right. I don't know. I never took the Slovene episodes that seriously. I guess it was the farting thing. It kind of... I can deal with it, and I get that it's a kid's show. I understand that. Don't worry. But, I don't know, I guess... Well, like I said earlier, I prefer the kind of more serious take on it.
Yeah.
And I guess that... I know there are still serious themes within it, but I always struggle to... I always kind of cringe at those moments.
Yeah, there wasn't too much farting in Boomtown.
Not in Boomtown.
No.
To be fair.
I mean, there still was. There's still farting.
Yeah, a little bit of it.
just a little bit, yeah.
The Empty Child and... Dr. Dances are pretty good episodes.
Pretty damn good.
Stephen Moffat wrote them before he was head writer. Mm-hmm. They're incredibly famous episodes, actually. Gas Mask Kid, Are You My Mummy? introduction of Captain Jack Harkness.
Yeah,
An incredibly popular character as well.
definitely.
I don't know. I like a lot of things about this episode. It's a sort of horror aspect.
Yeah.
Sort of like, not quite a silent enemy, but they can't say a lot. So it's almost that sort of like, horror mask, Jason Voorhees.
Totally, yeah,
It's
it's
sort of
kind of a
like-
stalker quality.
Yeah, because they never run either.
Like a slasher villain.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the strength of them as well, punching through walls and stuff like that, and being able to communicate with you everywhere. Because it's the phone call thing as well.
Mm.
You know how like that horror villain's always calling you from places, but then they're just doing it through the TV and through the radio and stuff like that. It's really, really creepy. And I saw you shivering just there thinking about it.
It gives me the fear.
It does though.
I've seen that episode once in 2005 when it aired, and never again. Like, I'm properly screwed
And it
if we go nuclear, because, like, I will not
You
be
can't
in
even
the same
gas
room
mask.
as a gas mask.
I'll actually combine my last two. So I want to talk about, they're not specific episodes or anything, but the Target novelizations, I think if you can get your hands on them, they're pretty damn good. Basically, every episode of classic Doctor Who was novelized, because basically, obviously, you didn't have like any way of watching them again. So the closest you could get to watching the episodes again would be to read this novel. And they're like kids' books, so they're not that long. So I would highly recommend them because they kind of bypass that era of the show in terms of the special effects and things. I think that turns a lot of people off of that era of the show. And it helps, obviously, if you can imagine good special effects while you're reading it. It relies on kind of a solid understanding of Classic Who. I would definitely recommend watching some kind of maybe retrospectives on the specific Doctors before you read the books, so that you can imagine the right voice in your head and things like that. But yeah, they're really good. The other thing I was going to talk about are the Big Finish audio dramas, which I think not enough people know about. And it's basically, you get a lot of classic Doctors, so from like all the ones that are still living, basically. So people who love Tom Baker, you can get new Tom Baker Doctor Who like monthly. I just think it's mental.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Tennant's come back and done some. I'm really looking forward to Capaldi doing it.
Yeah.
I hope
He'll be great.
Yeah, because I think he'll hopefully get some writing that he didn't necessarily get in his time on the show. Again, your imagination is crucial to it, so if you don't want to imagine shoddy special effects, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can imagine good ones.
And I think that's really...
Or
really
none at
cool.
all.
Or none at all. Allow the words to wash over you.
I like to imagine Tom Baker standing in a white room in his underwear, just doing all the voices. Well, I'm going to pick something of a meme for my final one. It's from the 90s, which is already a bad sign, because there's only one actual Doctor Who thing
It's not
in
that
the
bad a
90s.
sign. We're all from the 90s.
True.
No, that's actually
Of
a
the
really bad
90s.
thing.
Yeah.
Just.
Only 90s kids remember this.
It was a Red Nose Day special. So, written by Stephen Moffat, his first contribution to the show, and it kind of acts as like a weird forewarning, foreshadowing.
It can only get
his
worse
era.
from here.
Basically, it follows the Doctor, as played by Rowan Atkinson, who's decided he is going to retire and get married to his companion. And they meet the Master, and the Master is generally being evil, and there's some time travel shenanigans. The Master falls down a sewer, and he's stuck there for 300 years, and then comes back for revenge.
I bribed the architect.
I bribed him first. And basically, the planet they're on, they all communicate by farts. It's ridiculous. It's silly. It's such good fun. And then the Doctor keeps dying and just regenerates. He's Hugh Grant. He's
Jim Broadbent.
Broadbent. He's Richard E. Grant, who's been the Doctor a few times now. Eventually, the Doctor dies and everyone's sad, and then the companion gives a speech like, "Oh no, you're too silly. You're too great. Oh no, don't die, Doctor."
Every
And then-
Clara speech.
Every Clara speech. She makes pretty much the same one at the end of Time of the Doctor. And magically the Doctor regenerates into a woman and goes off with the Master.
Joanna Lumley.
Joanna Lumley.
Excellent
So
choice.
it's
That's
just
not a bad
a
one.
ridiculous adventure, and it's all the stuff I kind of love about Doctor Who, basically, if you're doing a rewatch, don't bother with the Moffat era. Just watch that because it's basically just the same thing, but in 20 minutes.
Vincent the dog. Beautiful episode. Lovely colours. A lot of it is actually. I think there's in a lot of senses like when the scene where they're walking through to the church, like past the field of wheat.
No, yeah.
I think it's nice and warm.
Theresa May running past.
No, it's a really good episode. So start off in the gallery, looking at all the paintings, and then they head back to meet him because they see a monster in the painting that shouldn't be there.
Bum bum bum.
Bum bum bum. So cue a really nice, just sort of following of the life and times of like Vincent van Gogh and what troubles him. But when they decide to take him to the art gallery as well and have Bill Nye, brilliant, have Bill Nye just go off in a little speech about how Van Gogh is the greatest artist in his opinion of all time. It's one of those scenes that really has you tearing up.
Yeah, it's one of those lovely, like, it's Doctor Who fully taking advantage of its time travel potential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of slightly a biopic, but then it also allows you to do those more surreal moments like that at the end. Because I think are why I love time travel stories, actually.
It's great. That sort of episode, like, really... And it was really lovely for Matt Smith, because I feel like Matt Smith was a far more... I think he was a nicer Doctor than there's been in the past. Friendlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he had this... Yeah. And a lot of this was for Amy at the time, because... I mean, Vincent van Gogh hitting on Amy, and Matt Smith being like, could you not? Because I'm still trying to sort of make her remember Rory. There's a ring for that. This was like right after the Silurians episode.
Yeah, Rory gets erased.
Yeah.
How many times did he die?
A few.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
At least one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, am I wrong? But, no, I just really, really liked the episode. The characters were great, and then, like, the madness was sort of, like, really, like, the acting was fantastic in that episode, actually.
So this has been a kind of weird, rambling little reflection on all things Doctor Who. I say all things, mostly the modern era, but that's kind of what we're familiar with.
That's what we grew up with,
yeah. Exactly. And long may it continue.
Yeah.
We've all been watching the new series. Mixed thoughts, mixed emotions.
Yes.
At least we can all agree that Graham is fantastic.
Yeah.
Bradley Walsh is phenomenal.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Yeah, so that's been that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you. This has been
like,
Potluck.
comment, and subscribe.
But if you put his in, you've got to put mine in. You got to say it as well. So we all say it together.
How do we sign these things off?
And now a silly one!